Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I got another ranking video for you, and today we're going to be talking about Mr.Big. Mr.Big, the super group of sorts that formed in the late 80s. It formed with Billy Sheehan on bass, one of the best bass players of all time, also known as Eddie Van Halen of the bass. Paul Gilbert, local boy from Pittsburgh, one of the best guitarists of all time. Eric Martin, one of the best blues rock singers of all time, and Pat Torpey, rest in peace, one of the most unknown but great drummers of all time. Very underrated band. They formed in the late 80s after Billy came from a band called Talus, then he was in David Lee Roth's band, and then Paul Gilbert was in Racer X previously. And their first album was a pretty good success. It was pretty popular. Then they really reached their peak with the next album, Lean Into It, with To Be With You, which was written as a joke, but put on the album at the end on purpose by the producer, and it became their most signature song. It was #1 in like 12 countries, and their next album wasn't as popular. It had a few decent songs, a couple minor hits, and then they just started to decline. Paul Gilbert left. They brought in Richie Kotzen, who was previously with Poison, and who now is back with Billy and the Winery Dogs. They made a couple albums, and then they got back together with Paul, and they made 3 albums recently, starting with What If. And Pat Torpey unfortunately passed away due to complications from Parkinson's. And I saw them on their last tour with him, and he actually did like backup vocals, and he even performed drums on Just Take My Heart, which was nice to see that they brought him in back to tour with a band one final time. Supposedly they want to do one more album as a tribute to Pat before they hang it up, but I'm not sure that's ever going to happen, so maybe we'll get one final album, maybe not. But let's start off the ranking. There's 9 total studio albums. Coming in at 9 is one of their more recent albums, The Stories We Could Tell. It came out in 2014. It's okay of an album. They don't have any really bad albums, but there's not really any strong albums on this album, or strong songs on this album. Fragile I really like. Satisfy is not bad. It's The Stories We Could Tell. The title track's okay. I mean, it's nothing spectacular, but it's a good listen. Coming in at 8 is their most recent album. I got the shirt, Defying Gravity. Once again, it doesn't really measure up to their more known work, but it's not bad. The title track's good. Let's see. Nothing at all is not bad. Open Your Eyes is okay. It's much like the last one. I think I like this one a little bit more, but they're both toward the bottom of their discography, but once again, not bad. Coming in at 7 is Get Over It, which was, I think, their first with Richie. And while I much prefer their second actual size, this one still has some good songs. Electrified, I think, was released as a single. Super Fantastic, I know, was released as a single, and it was the #1 hit in Japan. And they're huge in Japan, Mr.Big, because, one, the Japanese like good music and their culture's badass. But yeah, you still go to Japan, which I really want to go to one of these days, and you wear a Mr.Big shirt or talk about Mr.Big, everybody's going to know who they are. Holding the Sun's not bad. Dancing with My Devils, which is released on their greatest hits that I have, it's a pretty good, decent blues rock guitar song. So overall, it's a pretty solid album. #6, I'm going to go with Hey Man. This is their 4th album, I think. Came out in the mid-90s. I like it. Pat Torpey's drumming on Take Cover is one of his most famous works. The progression on that song is pretty spectacular from a drum perspective. Trapped in Toyland's a great song. Going Where the Wild Wind Blows is a pretty good ballad. That's What It Takes is a good song. It's just the overall pretty good album. It's better than most of the recent work, so I highly recommend checking it out. It was not a hit at all, though. It just pretty much disappeared off the chart. I don't even know if it made the charts, to be honest. Coming in at 5, I'm going to go with their comeback album with the original members, What If. Now this is a really strong album. Undertow was released as a single. So was the ballad All the Way Up, which is a good ballad. Around the World has a hell of a guitar riff by Paul Gilbert, great song. Stranger in My Life, very good song. As far as the Eye Could See is a really pretty good rocker song too. So overall, this is a pretty damn solid comeback. Much better than their last two albums they did with the classic lineup. So I would recommend this one also. Coming in at 4 is their third most popular album, their third overall album, Bump Ahead. Now this is a very underrated album. It didn't have the hits of the first two really. They did a cover of Cat Stevens' Wild World, which was a big hit. It was our last big hit in the United States. And it's pretty bad when you have to cover Cat Stevens. They did a great job of it, but it's bad that you have to cover Cat Stevens and make that the hit. But Colorado Bulldog, great song. Price You Gotta Pay, great song. Promise Her the Moon, good ballad. What's It Gonna Be, a great rock song. The Whole World's Gonna Know, great song. And I Ain't Seen Love Like That, which is the other single released off this album. It did hit the charts. It was like 83, I think. So overall, it's a lot more of a disappointment compared to their previous album, but I still think it's one of their best ones. And Mr. Big, the title track, or the name of the song named after the band is actually a cover of, I forget what band it was from the 70s, but they named the band after that song. So yeah, number 3 is the most overlooked album in their discography, actual size. It's the second and last album with the Richie Kotzen. There's just so many good songs on here. Lost in America, Shine, which was another number 1 hit in Japan. It was the theme song of some anime cartoon in Japan. I don't like anime. I know everybody else does in the world. It's like the thing anymore, but I know it was a theme song to that. Arrow is a great ballad. Suffocation, great blues rock song. I Don't Want to Be Happy, great blues rock song. Nothing Like It in the World, great ballad. I mean, overall, this is just chock full of ballads and great blues rock songs. And second is their debut, which is a really great debut album. It's more hard rock blues, more so than the rest of the albums they have. It was more their hardest rocking album, I think. Addicted to That Rush, great song, great guitar work. Taking a Walk, I still hear that sometimes on like games, backgrounds, like if I listen to a hockey game. It's a great guitar song. Big Love's great song. Wind Me Up's good. Anything for You is one of my favorite ballads by them. It's highly, highly underrated. And the cover of 30 Days in a Hole, I think it was Humble Pie. It's a great cover. And of course, the best album was their most successful for a good reason. Lean Into It. I mean, you got the Electric Drill song, Alive and Kicking, which is a great blues rock song. Green Tin and 60s Mind, which is a very trippy-like ballad song, but it's really good. Just Take My Heart, another famous song by theirs, their second biggest hit and a great ballad. As I said, they had Pat Torpey do on tour. To Be With You, of course, their most famous song. It's cheesy as fuck, but you can't get it out of your head. And like I said, it was written as a joke, and lo and behold, was one of the biggest songs of the 90s and what the band's known for today. But unfortunately, it had to be that song. I like it, but there's so many better songs that they did. And so that's my ranking of the 9 Mr. Big albums. Let me know what your ranking is in the video below. I don't think anybody on YouTube has a Mr. Big ranking video. I'll do another video soon, probably more music. I know more people want horror and video games, but music is my thing. I have a shitload of horror stuff I need to get to, so I'll definitely get some in. So as always, I hope you subscribe and you like my content, and let me know what you think your ranking is in the video, and I'll put another video in the description to watch if you are interested in watching them. So as always, take care and rock on.